Meanwhile, ordinary American life, forget it. They're cracking down on that, too. What's going on in Roswell? Not aliens. We're talking about Roswell, Georgia, where Andrew Words is now dead after more than 4 years of harassment over his backyard chickens. He was finally evicted via county marshals. There's some kind of explosion. It resulted in the loss of his life. A real tragedy there and a real encroachment on rights. Rob Dew and Mike Adams from Natural News, who hosted the show today, are going to get into that in detail in an interview coming up. But just another outrageous case. Meanwhile, photos have surfaced from training by the U.S. Army to do riot control. We've got a photo montage of that. There's a similar exercise by the National Guard from May 2010. And, of course, we already knew from 2008 that the Army War College, as you see these photos of them getting ready for people begging for food, demanding to be let into what I guess FEMA facilities to get their food rations. Well, you've got the IMF warning of economic riots back in 2008. You've got the Army War College warning that the country must prepare for civil unrest. This has been brewing for some time. They know that this economic crisis is going to go on, and people are going to get more and more desperate. Notice that sign, food now. So in this training exercise, as you see these photos, you've got them specifically doing a hunger game, expecting people to be starving and desperate and ready to turn themselves into government for anything they can get. But they're going to set up riot control police, and you probably won't even get what you were promised, even if you give in to government. Meanwhile, you've got U.S. protesters increasingly being treated like terrorists under Israeli-style repression. You've got Press TV interviewing an American. His name is Allen Roland, discussing how the cops who are pepper spraying college students and clamping down on them and treating them like there's some kind of unrest element just because they're protesting things like student tuition, love, hate, or indifferent to the issue. They are being treated under these counterterrorism measures. And why are police being trained by Mossad agents as though we're dealing with terrorists? Well, it just shows the response that they really want to end this country, clamp down on dissidents of all kind. And in fact, it just sprang to mind one small example from back in 2008, where here in Austin, Texas, you had counterterrorism experts from Israel coming to train our police forces here in the country. I've got that article here from News 8 Austin, again from 2 years ago, but it just shows how you've got a country in a volatile part of the world, a definite clash of cultures between Israeli lifestyle and the other countries in the Middle East, where certainly they have violence. And indeed, they quote in this article, the Israeli people grow up to think in the back of their head something is always out to harm them, so they're very careful. Goes on to say how they're very used to dealing with the stress of terror, but they're essentially transplanting that here in the United States, bringing that terror home. They could have ended the war on terror, started for bogus, fraudulent reasons in the first place years ago, but instead they decided to turn the tables, label returning veterans, spy upon dissidents, question political speech, question those with bumper stickers, question supporters of Ron Paul and the other third-party candidates, and now they've got the riot police in position to clamp down on society with that larger brand, that regular American life is somehow now terrorism. And it's not even just political activity. It's lemonade stands and all the rest of it. These backyard chickens, it just makes me sick.